The NBA, there's been so much discussion about the Warriors based on the Draymond Green incident that happened at practice, the video that we have all seen. But there's some news now. Both Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, who were key contributors to the championship run in the playoffs, got 4-year, $140 million deals. And don't forget this, they actually discussed this as they were celebrating the championship. Let's listen to Poole and Wiggins as the confetti fell.
Where we going?
I'm going to Spain.
What? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. We can do that. You a world champion. And you about to get a bag. No. You about to get a bag.
We about to get a bag.
We about to get a bag.
We all.
They're committed to Steph, to Klay, to Jordan Poole, to Andrew Wiggins. However, Draymond Green is still waiting for an extension. What do these two deals tell you about this roster moving forward?
Well, it's a salary cap driven sport, and I believe both of these deals would have gotten done regardless of the incident between Draymond and Poole. I don't think their deals, the length of their deals or their numbers, in theory, were impacted by the incident. But since it's a salary cap driven sport, you can't pay everybody top dollar. And for the Golden State Warriors, as a franchise, they have what every team hopes to have. They have a core of individuals that won 4 championships, led by the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green, obviously Steve Kerr. And then they've nurtured a young group of players the couple of years that they were struggling with injuries with KD in the finals, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. That allowed them draft capital. And they did a great job of developing Jordan Poole, drafting Wiseman, drafting Kuminga, drafting Moody. And so now all of a sudden you have the core, original core, and now you have the young upstarts. But you can't pay everybody $100 million. So at some point, whether it's this year, because he's still under contract, Draymond, or next year when he has his player option, whether he opts in or opts out, that makes him a trade commodity. And the faster that Wiseman and Kuminga develop, what I'm going to be watching for this year is who's finishing games on a nightly basis. That'll then tell you where they are as it relates to either trying to move him now or after the season.
So, Jalen, you are such a great NBA analyst, and you reminded me of something that I forgot because they won the championship. Draymond Green did not finish every game in the NBA Finals. He was actually benched in the series. Jalen, if you see Draymond Green not on the floor at the end of close games, do you think that he will also get an extension like Poole and Wiggins did?
I don't think he's going to get a long-term extension from the Warriors based on his age, based on what he's already accomplished. And just as you age, yes, the defense is still going to be there and the tenacity is going to be there, but his scoring is down, his three-point shooting is down. So it's going to be important for him to see if he can raise those back up and reinvent himself. He's at that pivotal year as a basketball player, I'm talking only on the floor, where reinventing yourself is important. And for him, making open shots is going to be crucial. If he's not making open shots and he becomes somewhat of an offensive liability, then you're going to go with the younger guys who give you more youth and athleticism. Wiseman is a rim runner that can give you post-ups. Kuminga is going to give you some athleticism in transition. So his role is still going to be valuable. He's still going to be if not the captain of the team. But yes, as you age as a player, your role, including Draymond, will diminish.
Start with some interesting news from the Bay. We all heard what happened with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Then we saw what happened with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, and now we know the fallout. He will be rejoining the team Thursday. He will make every single game. He will play in their final preseason game on Friday. Jalen, there's a lot of angles to this story, and we will hit all of them. But first, what do you think about the quote-unquote punishment?
So the one thing about making poor decisions is if you have discipline, if you have respect, and if you have honor, there should be an opportunity to atone for those transgressions. And for Draymond Green, the edge that he plays with, the attitude that he has, the toughness and tenacity that he brings to the table is the sole reason he's in the NBA. He changed his body, he changed his attitude, he became a leader, an enforcer, a champion 4 times, a future Hall of Famer that has garnered the respect of so many basketball people, in particular, the Splash Brothers.
Yep.
But what ends up happening is when you punch Jordan Poole, like any team dynamic, there's going to be the older group that I just mentioned, and then there's going to be the younger group. Moody, Wiseman, Kuminga, all of the people that you talk to about what not to do, and then they see you do it. So now that creates a division indirectly in the locker room. It doesn't mean that the other guys that I mentioned or the other 14 guys aren't going to embrace Day-Day when he gets back. What I mean is the hourglass for his time with the Golden State Warriors has officially been flipped.
Well, Steve Kerr came out and said when something like this happens, it does impact the culture. He's talking about how this does have an effect on the team, not trying to underplay, which I found interesting from the head coach in speaking to a microphone to the media.
Well, the beautiful thing about speaking about something is when you have experience at it. And that man has been a champion, I believe, 8 times as a player and a coach. Been around some of the greatest players in the league and has been a fantastic contributor and an advocate for others. But Michael Jordan punched him in the face during the practice.
And we celebrated Michael Jordan for that.
Because it wasn't footage of it. See, that's the difference. And I want fans and media to be reminded, the things that were okay in the 80s and the 90s aren't necessarily okay in 2022. The terms that we use, the names that the teams are called, and how we deal with interacting our fellow human being. And the one thing you can't do is ignore this term when you're watching an NBA game. Hold me back. There's a reason why we say that. You know why? We know that there's a line that you should walk to that you should never cross.
Yep.
And the other people that are intervening should hurry up and run over there to make it look like you don't know you shouldn't have crossed that line, but everybody know when you punch somebody, what can happen? Draymond could have broke his hand, could have busted a finger, could have hurt his wrist. He could have broke his jaw. So now that becomes a different dynamic on Wednesday when it happens. Everybody tries to keep it in the incubator. But then when the video becomes public on Friday, Day-Day said it. I know how my mom would have reacted to this video. Jordan Poole has parents. He has people that love him beyond basketball. He has teammates who ride with him also. So what now happens, we're going to be watching the Warriors play, and all we're going to be doing is like Draymond and KD after they had their blow up. We're going to be seeing how he and Poole interact.
Yep.
So when Shaq leaves Los Angeles, fans and media are mad at Kobe. See, a lot of people look at this as revisionist history. Why? Because Shaq had the bigger, dominant personality, and he was the 3-time Finals MVP. And so when he left, it was now on Kobe to prove he could do it without Shaq. For Draymond, his case is vastly different because the Golden State Warriors feel if they could move him right now, they would.
Really? You think the Warriors are trying to get off Draymond Green? Because they can move him.
Jacoby, they can't move him right now. If they could move him for that number and get equal value in return, they would do it. They don't want to go into the season understanding that it's going to be divided because that's what it's going to be. This is not going to change. That relationship, certain things that happen in relationships mean those relationships will never be the same.
But you started this whole conversation by saying that when you have honor and the right attitude and reputation that you can atone for the mistakes that you make. Don't you feel like Draymond Green can make this right, can speak to the team, can speak to Jordan Poole, can speak to Steve Kerr, can speak to the front office, can speak to the fans even, use his podcast even? Don't you feel like Draymond Green can handle this in a way in which it does not affect these relationships that you see?
You taught me this. You can be mean if you're funny. You taught me that. You also taught me that a lot of times everybody's a hero in their own movie,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So yes, Draymond can atone for those things verbally. But like I always tell you, I can't hear what you're saying because your actions are so loud. And when you punch somebody and it's on video, that just never goes away. That never goes away. It's gonna be people that say, oh, Jordan is soft for now not responding to Draymond. If I was him, I would do this.
There's always that. Yeah.
Right? And so that will change the dynamics of the relationship forever. And based on that, now, like I brought up the Shaq and Kobe dynamic, now if you're the organization, are you choosing the past, Draymond, or are you choosing the future?
The future, Jordan Poole.